All right, let's get into it. The last couple of weeks, I have used this verse in some way or another, but this is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, I define that, and the definition, the real physical matter of which a person or thing consists and which has a tangible, solid presence. Now, we talked about this last week or the week before, but really, so the Hebrews 11:1 should read like this. Faith is the substance, real physical matter, the tangible, solid presence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I talked to you about if that is true, if faith is tangible, if faith is solid, if faith is something that you can really grab a hold of and it's supposed to be in you, then there are probably certain things in your life, just like in my life, that we need to let go of so that we can make more room for faith, right? And so, what are those things that you need to let go of? What are those things that you need to free yourself up of? And we went into that, and if you really want to go deep into that, you can go online and watch the message from last week and the week before that, because we get into it. But this last week, after the message, I had this question. This is a quote from a text that was sent to me from somebody in our congregation that I'm not going to reveal who, but the question of the week. I was wondering how you gain faith for prayer when you lack it due to focusing on worry, doubt, and fear, more than the power of God in hardships. That's a good question, right? How many of you want to know the answer to that question or have had that question yourself? I think all of us have at one time or another. How you gain faith for prayer when you lack it due to focusing on worry, doubt, and fear. So, for that, we just need to finish the last half of this verse, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The evidence of things not seen. How do you have evidence? Or let's define evidence, first of all. The available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. So how do you have evidence of things not seen? How do you have evidence for things not seen? How do you prove something that you can't see? I mean, that's a good question. But most of us in the room have accepted Jesus into our heart, and we've never actually seen Jesus, right? I mean, maybe he's come to in a dream or something like that. But I would say it's pretty safe to say that most of us in the room have not seen Jesus. Jesus didn't pop in my room and introduce himself. But I have faith in Jesus. How do you prove something that's unseen? How do you prove love? You can't see love. How do you define love? Right? I mean, love isn't like this cup. This is a cup. I can prove it to you. I'm showing it to you right now. That's a cup. How do you prove love? What's the evidence of love? Time spent, right? When you love somebody, you spend time with them, you spend time on them, you spend time about them, you spend time thinking about them. So how do you prove love? Well, you prove it by your actions, by what you do. Choosing that person. How do you prove love? You prove love by choosing that particular person over somebody else. My wife. I have chosen my wife over anybody else. That's a proof of love. I have spent time with my wife. I spend time talking to my wife. I spend time thinking about my wife. That's how I'm proving love. My actions are actually what is proving love. Effort. My wife takes a lot of effort. I'm That's a joke. We can laugh. But when I love somebody, when you love somebody, you put effort into that, right? Do you not? We all put effort into it. Whether it's a spouse, it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's a child, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a parent, whatever it is, you put effort into that. So you can't prove love. You can't point to love and say that's love. It's your actions that point to love. Are you guys with me? How do you prove faith? If faith is the evidence of things not seen, how do you prove faith? How you live your life. Do you understand how you live your life? How you walk about your daily life will prove whether or not you have faith. And that's hard. I said this last week. I don't think God is impressed with our ability to point out how broken the world is. But when we come at things with a thankful heart, we always get his attention. I know that it's popular in Christianity, it's popular in our culture to complain about how bad things are. I mean, I've heard this over and over again. We live in the worst time ever. Things have never been so dark. Things have never been, name it. Quite honestly, that's a lie. We don't live in the darkest time. In fact, there was a whole period they called the Dark Ages. I mean, historically speaking, we have it really, really good. Are there problems in the world? Absolutely. Are there issues in the world? Absolutely. I'm not saying there's not. But I'm saying we have less problems today than we have at any other time. Listen, just medically, we're better off. If we weren't in this time medically, I wouldn't be walking on this stage. I've had 4 major knee surgeries and just had my left knee replaced. Thank God we live in this time. Medically, things are better. I mean, 150 years ago, people died of diarrhea. That was a major cause of death. That was one of the leading causes of death. I know nobody likes to think about that on Sunday morning, but it's just historically a fact here. We don't have that anymore. Why? Because the world is better. Things are better. So I know it's popular to sit around and talk about how bad things are, how dark things are, how horrible things are, how bad things are. And if you're a Republican, the Democrats are horrible. If you're a Democrat, the Republicans are horrible. All that stuff. Honestly, just stop. God's not impressed with that. When we come to him and say, God, things are so dark, things are so horrible, I think sometimes he's like, okay, like I didn't know. But when you come to him and you're in that process, because listen, we all have bad moments. We all have times where we think, man, life is bad. We go through things, right? We have bad things happen. We have things happen to us that are, when our health goes down, it's hard. It's hard not to sit around and go, wow, this sucks. It does. You're right. When you're struggling financially, it's easy to get in a place where you're like, wow, this is a really hard time. And it is. But God's not impressed with us sitting around going, God, I'm not sure if you're seeing me, but my life sucks right now. God knows that. But if you come at him with a thankful heart, you always get his attention. And if you'll just begin to thank him in the moments of darkness, in the moments when things are bad, in the moments when things are overwhelming, if you'll just begin to stop and bring thankfulness and just, God, thank you. Well, what are you going to thank him for? My life sucks. Well, you can thank him that he created you in the first place. You can thank him for, whatever you have at that moment. I mean, God created everything. Thank you. God has put up with me for 60 years. Thank you. Somebody needs to take Kaylani out right now. When David faced Goliath, he didn't talk about how big Goliath was. Do you realize that? David didn't show up at the camp and be like, hey guys, I think, you haven't been attacking. I think this is a really good idea because that guy's big. I mean, that story wouldn't be in the Bible, right? Like, hold up, guys. Goliath, he's a giant. I bet you he's really strong. Let's just leave. They wouldn't record that. But what did David do? David showed up, and he didn't talk about how strong he was. He talked about the greatness of God. He talked about how great God is, how big God is, how amazing God is. And he's like, wait a minute, wait. Goliath is that, but my God is this, and my God's on my side, so how could I possibly be afraid of him? That is how we're supposed to take things on. That's who we're supposed to be. But you know what? Here's the thing. What's the opposite of faith? Wrong. The opposite of faith is certainty. Listen, if you have certainty, you don't need faith. If you know that you know that you know without a shadow of a doubt, why do you need faith? And when we tell people, oh, you just got to have faith, you just got to believe, you just got to do, it's like, no, stop. Having doubt is part of the Christian experience. Doubts and unbelief are part of the experience of being a Christian. It's part of being a Christian. Again, we don't know. I've never seen Jesus personally. I've been in the room where he showed up in presence. I've been in the room where I have felt him, but I've never actually seen Jesus with my own two eyes. But I believe. Sometimes do I have doubt? Absolutely. Sometimes do I think, Jesus, are you real? Like, are you paying attention here? Because, it just feels like you're not doing anything. We've all had times like that. All of us have had moments where we struggle with our identity in faith. We struggle with, is he even real? Listen, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but there's times I've walked up on this stage before, and halfway up the stairs I think, man, is this real? That's normal. And anybody that tells you, I never have doubt ever, I've never doubted, I've never had any moments where I'm sorry, I don't believe them. Doubt is part of who we are. Doubt is part of that experience. But how can you have faith if doubt does not exist? It's because we doubt is why faith is so important. John Wimber says faith is spelled R-I-S-K. And if you have risk, you're going to have doubt. That's why they call it risk. That's the nature of risk. I'm going to step out and do something in a business way, and I'm not sure it's really risky. I'm not sure it's going to make it or not. That's faith. That's faith. But if it's like, oh no, I have everything lined up, I know it'll work, it's not a doubt in my mind, there's not a problem, I've got all the money, I've got all the funding, I've got this, it's a sure thing, you don't need faith for that. You don't. I've had my moments where I have had problems and doubt and issues, and I've had these times where it's like, all right, God, I really need you to show up, and I'm not sure you're going to. Years ago, my first wife and I, we were youth pastors here at the church. We both worked here. All of our eggs were in this basket. We led the youth. Together, we made $1,500 a month. We were living the high life. We were struggling financially. We were barely making it. And then she got sick, and medical bills started piling up. And I remember praying, God, I don't know how we're going to make it. I don't know what we're going to do. For a long time, like, God, I'm gonna have faith in you. But inside I'm doubting, because anybody would. Inside I'm questioning God, because anybody would. Because my wife is sick and medical bills are building, and I'm not sure I'm going to have money to even pay rent. I'm not sure I'm going to have money to pay, to buy food. And one day I was down in the dumps, and I just remember, like, God, are you hearing me? And I walked to the mailbox, and a friend of mine, Napoleon Kaufman, who played tailback for the Raiders, without any conversations, without anything at all, I open up the mailbox and there's a check for $5,000. It's like 5 months of my salary. I doubted. I wasn't sure he was going to come through, but God shows up. Why? Because faith doesn't have to be I'm solid on a rock. I have no doubt. I have no fear. I have nothing. That's not faith. That's certainty. Faith is, God, I'm not sure you're going to sign up, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep moving forward. That's faith. Faith is, I'm not sure I'm going to make it, but doggone it, I'm going to take another step. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to step again, but I'm going to try it. I'm not sure that I can keep going, but I'm going to keep going. That's faith. And in one moment, somebody that I wasn't expecting, we didn't even talk that much. In one moment, I call him, I say, dude, what's going on? He goes, the Lord told me you needed something. You see, you don't know who is God talking to about you. Who is God talking to about your circumstances? Who is God talking to about what you're going through? We don't know that. At another time, we were living in Cutton, in our home in Walnut, off of Walnut there, and my wife now had gotten sicker and sicker and sicker. We were senior pastors in Arcata, and it's really hard to pastor a supernatural church when your wife is at home dying. It's hard to stand up in front of people and say, hey, God's got you. Don't worry about it. It's all fine. Yeah, come up here. Let me pray for healing as your wife is at home dying. Really hard to do that. And I remember one particular day, it was just a hard day. Man, I remember she was sick. It was just hard. I mean, little kids. It's just a rough day. And I remember waking up and just thinking, I'm not sure I can make this anymore. I'm not sure I can go forward anymore. I remember having a conversation with God. God, I think I'm at the end of my rope. I don't think I can go on. I don't think I can go one moment further. But you know what I did? I got out of bed, and I took a step. And I began to go forward, and I began to do the stuff we're doing, and I began to say, God, I don't know, but I know you got it. I remember saying, then I'm praying, I say, God, just give me something. And a friend of mine, Paul Manwaring, who was on staff at Bethel Redding at the time, I knock on our door. I answer the door, and it's Paul. He drove 3 hours, 3.5 hours to come see me because the Lord told him I needed something. I answer the door, and it's Paul, and my mouth drops open. I said, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm just here to love on you. I'm just here to pray for Martha. I'm just here to be here for you today. Do you understand? All I did was in the midst of my doubt, in the midst of my pain, in the midst of seeing Martha dying slowly, all I did was I just kept going forward one step at a time. And God kept bringing things in my life to get me to the next point. That's faith. That's what faith looks like. One step at a time. God, I don't understand why this is happening, but I'm going to keep going. God, I don't understand what's going on. I'm going to keep going. All right, God, I don't understand this, and I'm not even sure I can go forward. That's okay, too. Just be honest with him. Just tell him what's going on. Because all of us in this room struggle, or Maybe you're not struggling now. Fantastic. You've struggled before. You've had times before. Maybe you're not struggling now, but a struggle's going to come. I'm not prophesying over you. I'm just telling you that's real life. All of us face pain and struggle and things that we don't see coming. And when you don't see it coming, when things are hitting you, you just got to keep going. All right, God, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. I'm going to keep going. I don't know that I'm going to make it financially, God. Oh, wow, here's a relief for the next 4 or 5 months. I don't know that I can make it, God. I need a sign. Oh, here's a friend of mine that shows up 3.5 hours away just because he knew that I needed something, even though I hadn't talked to him. I hadn't spoke to him. Being a follower of Jesus is hard. It is hard. Being a follower of Jesus is so hard to do. And if anybody's told you anything else, I'm sorry if they lied to you. Being a follower of Jesus is hard because it requires you to do the hard thing, which is in the midst of chaos, in the midst of a storm, you're going to stand. In the midst of all hell breaking loose, you're going to be there on the edge saying, God, I'm still going to love you. I shared last week when my wife passed away, the next day they came and they came to take her away. And when they came to take her away, all I could do was stand there and say, God, you are so great. God, you are so awesome. God, I don't understand this. I'll never understand this, but I know you're good. I know you are good. That's being a Christian. That's being a follower of Jesus. Standing when nobody else is standing. Standing when everybody else says to you, you can't go up against that giant. What the heck is wrong with you? That giant's going to throw you around. That giant's going to kill you. No, he's not, because I know God. That's faith. That's what all of us in the room need to have. We need to have faith. We need to stand. Sometimes just standing is all you got to do. And you know what? You don't have to get deep into prayers. There's been times in my life when I've gone through some of the stuff I've gone through, and all I could say is, oh, God. Actually, even less than that. After Martha died, the only thing I could do was I'd get up in the morning. Here's what I tell myself, today, just breathe. Just breathe. I'm just going to breathe today. That's faith. Why? Because I'm going to keep going. I'm going to push ahead, and I'm looking at people in this room who are champions, who have pushed forward, who have gone through deep, dark things, who have had horrible things happen to them, who have had people do horrible things to them, who have had health issues, who have had things that are big and horrible and bad and wrong. But you know what? You stood. You continue to stand. That's amazing. I'm looking at a group full of champions today. People that keep coming back, saying, I know it's hard. I know it's rough. You can't even understand what I'm going through. You're right. I don't know what you're going through. I only know what I've been through. And I know that in my life, I've had moments where I've just had to say, all right, Lord, today I'm going to stand. Today I'm going to stand. I'm going to be here. I know it looks crazy. I know it looks difficult. I know that there are things where you just want to, sometimes I just want to run away. Sometimes I just want to get in the car and drive away. We've all felt that. We've all had those times. That's okay. I'm not going to be up here telling you, you can never have that thought. No, that's a human response. God created us. He understands the way we feel. He understands the way we think. He understands who we are. And all he's asking is that you just continue to stand. Can you stand? Be honest with God. It's okay to feel the way you are. Just praying is an act of faith. You realize that? Just praying. Just saying, Jesus, will you help me? That's an amazing act of faith. That's an incredible act of faith. Sometimes that's all you got to do. I love this story. I read it last week. I'm going to read it again. This is out of Mark 9. Out of the crowd, one man answered him, "Teacher, I brought my son to you. He has a spirit that makes him unable to speak. Wherever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to drive it out, but they couldn't." He replied to them, "You unbelieving generation, how long will I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him to me." So they brought him to him. When the spirit saw him, it immediately convulsed the boy. He fell to the ground, rolled around foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked him, "How long has this been happening to him?" "From childhood," he said. "And many times it has thrown him into the fire or water, destroy him." Lots of people in the room have had moments like this. Lots of people have had kids that are sick, or you've been sick, and you're just like, I don't get it. Like, why? Why is this happening? Like, what's going on? This man's at the end of his rope. This man has no one else to go to. But then the man asked him, "But if you could do anything, have compassion on us and help us." I like Jesus' response. If you can? It's like Jesus said, "Did you really just ask me if I can?" I could do anything, Jesus says. Everything is possible to the one who believes. Immediately the father of the boy cried out, and this is my favorite part, "I do believe. Help my unbelief." I do believe. Sometimes. I do believe that you're gonna take care of this problem. Man, I really hope so. I'm not sure. That's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. And don't let anybody else tell you there is. Because people have this crazy thoughts or idea that's like, well, you got to confess, you got to believe, you can't have any doubt, that's crap. Of course you can have doubt. Everybody doubts. I do believe, help my unbelief. Being a follower of Jesus is hard, but how will you react when diversity strikes you? That's the question this morning. How are you going to react when diversity strikes you? For parents in the room, how about this? How are you going to react when diversity strikes your children? Because that one's harder. How will you react when diversity strikes the person you love more than anybody else? How will you react when diversity strikes your spouse? How will you react when diversity strikes your parents? How will you react? What I'm asking you this morning is, will you just stand? Will you stand? That's what he's asking you to do. Yeah, God, this sucks, but I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand. You know what? This is where being a follower of Jesus is hard, because a lot of times the world's going to look at you standing and think, you fool. You idiot. What are you doing? Why do you keep going? Why don't you throw in the towel? That's the world. That's where it's hard to be a follower of Jesus. Is when everybody else is looking at you and going, you're an idiot if you believe he's going to help you. You're a moron if you think that that's what's going to go on. But you just keep standing. You just keep going, God, I'm going to give it to you. In the worst moment of my life, I'm going to stand and I'm going to say, God, you are good. God, you are awesome. God, I don't know why this happened. I don't understand why this happened. But you, God, are good. I'm going to stand. Will you stand with me? Will you stand this morning? Here's what I want to do. I want to lead us into prayer. And I want you to pray about this. I want you to think about this. And then as you get to the place where you're like, yes, I'm going to stand. Remember, standing doesn't mean you don't doubt. Lord, yes, I believe, but help my unbelief. Yes, I believe, but help me when I'm not. That's okay. But I want to pray over you this morning. I want to take a few minutes, and I just want, as we're going through this, if this spoke to you, if this is something that you want to do, if this is what you want to model your life at, I just want you to stand. So right now, Jesus, I pray for every person in this room. I pray, Lord God, as they stand, as they begin to stand, as they begin to say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. And listen, if you're in the room and you can't stand for a physical reason, that's no problem. Just put a hand up. Put a hand up. If you can't put a hand up, just maybe raise your chin a little bit. It doesn't matter. Standing is not the important part. The important part is what's in your heart. So Jesus, for every single one of us in here, in our heart today, that we're saying, I stand. I am going to stand. Maybe I'm in a wheelchair and I can't stand, but that's okay. I'm standing in my heart. I'm standing in my spirit. I'm standing inside. And God, you know that. So God, as we do that, I pray for every single person in the room this morning will begin to have faith, even when they doubt. They'll begin to have faith, even when they're not sure. They'll begin to have faith, even when they don't know yet how or why or when you're going to come through. But Jesus, we stand for you. We will follow you. Which means when our family, when our friends look at us and go, that is so stupid, that is so dumb, just give up, we will say, nope, I'm standing for Jesus. I'm standing with Jesus. If you need prayer this morning, I know we have a prayer team. We haven't brought you down in a while, but if you're part of the prayer team, would you just come forward here, stand? If you need prayer this morning, we want to take time. We want to pray for you. We want to pray for you. We want to pray over you. We want to pray for whatever's going on. Listen, part of standing in a community is realizing that there are other people that are standing with you. The beauty about a community is you never stand alone. You're not standing alone. There are people who will stand with you. Sometimes maybe you're standing, you feel like, I can't stand anymore. It's too much. I got to fall over. Guess what? Somebody in the community will come along and pick you up and say, I got you. Yeah. That's the beauty about being part of a community. I got you. So maybe you just need somebody to stand with you this morning. That's what these people are here for. You need somebody to stand with you. Come forward and get prayer. So if you need prayer, I want to invite you forward right now. Just come forward. They'll be up here as we close the service. You can come up in a minute. You can come up now, whenever. But listen, Jesus is with you. He is with you. And being a follower of Jesus is hard work. Being a follower of Jesus takes effort. How do you prove that you're a follower of Jesus? By the way you live your life. By what you have inside you. By how you conduct yourself on a daily basis. That's how you prove that you follow Jesus. So Jesus, bless us as we go. Thank you for being here this morning. Lord, let us be a people that goes out into Humboldt County and stands for you. Stands with you. In your name, amen. Thank you for being here. See you next week. Come up and get prayer if you need prayer.